Of course.
So somebody hit me with this today. It was when I saw it checked. It was 73 degrees today and sunny. Last Thursday was the day that it was so icy and cold. We had to postpone the show. 1 week's difference.
Yeah, it was brutal last week. So just happy it wasn't as bad as a year ago, and
Yes.
I'm excited for some warm weather.
Yes, thank the Lord for that. How about on a day like today? You still have some indoor matches coming, but do you get outside or do you still stay inside?
Unfortunately, today we were inside. We've got 2 indoor matches coming this weekend in preparation for National Indoors. So I think for Virginia and for us, we have to play inside to get ready for next week.
And it's a different game, isn't it? Outdoors compared to indoors.
It's a pretty different sport, yes.
In what ways?
Everything happens a little bit faster.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely cleaner, but a lot of serve and return. First ball, points are a little bit shorter. Everything happens a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big adjustment going outside and adding all the elements, or going inside. It's a big difference. So we need to make sure that we schedule properly and play. You know, having the indoors is a huge blessing for us, and so we need to use it in order to get ready for these national events.
Yeah, isn't that great? I mean, the Hawkins indoor tennis facility is just terrific. I hope people don't take that for granted.
No, I mean, there's a lot of schools in Texas that don't have facilities and don't have facilities close where they can go if it's windy, if it's raining, if it's cold. So it's really nice to have that, and we certainly take full advantage of it.
Very good. Great start to the season, 9-0 on the year. Most recently, a 6-1 win over Texas on Monday. That's always good. Congratulations.
Always good to beat the Horns.
Yes, Baylor crowd can appreciate that. And folks say, what are you doing starting conference so early? But it was a non-conference match.
It was, yeah. It actually started last year during the COVID year. We were trying to play a little bit more regionally, and with the strength of our conference, Oklahoma, TCU, Texas, we felt like it's only better for us to play each other multiple times, and we've decided to keep it going so that way we have a home and away each year.
Good, very good. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, with those schools in closer proximity and their high-level non-conference matches.
Absolutely. The way it works in tennis, it's all about your best wins.
Yeah,
Actually, your 9 best wins. And so, you're not really penalized for playing good teams.
Yeah.
So for us, it actually helps everyone if we play each other more often. And thankfully, the coaches at those schools feel the same way. Yeah. And that's why our guys come to Baylor. They want to play the best, and they want to have an opportunity to beat the best and test themselves. So we were able to do that early, and it was a electric atmosphere, fun match.
That's great. All right, help me understand this. You last week were ranked number 2 in the nation. You beat Texas 6-1. New rankings come out. You're number 3 in the nation. You beat them 6-1. How does that happen? I could take a shot at Texas, but I won't. How does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's a coach's vote at this point in the year. So, with Ohio State beating a top 5 team and beating the other number 1 team in the country was Tennessee last week. And push us back. I'm not sure why Tennessee's still ahead of us, but we feel good at 9-0, and to be honest, it's nice for our guys. It keeps them hungry.
So it's Ohio State 1, Tennessee 2, and Baylor 3.
Correct.
Very good. Very good company. Rest of the Big 12 still very well represented also.
Yes, TCU 4, Texas is in there.
Wow.
All the teams in our conference are in the top 25.
That's amazing. So this week, and we'll talk about it more after our first break, but you've got Tulsa coming in and Virginia, big match with Virginia coming up on Saturday.
Yes, yeah, Tulsa tomorrow at 2 and Virginia Saturday at 2, and Virginia 7 in the country. So it's going to be a very busy and high-level weekend for us.
And then next weekend headed to Seattle for the ITA National Indoors. That's always big.
It's a huge event, for us. It's the 16 best teams in the country that qualify from 64 teams, and so for us to go there, I mean, it's the best of the best. You want to go out there and test yourself and see, who is the best indoor team. We were very fortunate to make the finals last year, and so I feel like we have a lot to prove. The guys are hungry and excited to get there.
Madeline tells me the pairings haven't been set yet.
Correct. They'll actually wait till the end of this weekend. There's several matches like ours that will help determine the seeding.
Got it. Who are some of the other schools that will be there of those 16?
From our conference, TCU, Texas, and Baylor.
Okay.
And then there's Virginia, Wake Forest out of the ACC, USC, Stanford, UCLA out of the Pac-12, and then the Big Ten's got Ohio State.
Okay.
I'm missing a few schools in there. Oh, all the SEC schools. There's actually 7 from the SEC.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
7 of the
Yeah.
16 are
Yeah.
SEC schools?
It's a long story. It's not, the crowd doesn't want to hear about that. But, yeah, there's 7 schools from the SEC.
Good grief. Okay, I want to hear that story at some point.
Sure.
Maybe this isn't the time, but I want to hear that. So it really is the elite programs that are there that qualify for the ITA National Indoors.
Yeah, so they take the top 60 teams from the previous year. The top 15 actually get to host, which we were one of those hosts, and then whoever is hosting the event this year, it's in Seattle, so the University of Washington automatically qualifies. And then it's actually a draft. So if you're number 16, you get to pick wherever you want to go.
Really?
And 17 picks. And what typically happens is a lot of the top, like 16, 17, 18, 19, they'll all go to a similar place.
Wow.
Where they think, oh, that team might be weaker this year. We have a chance to go in and win. And then what happens is some of the stronger teams like us, no one picks us until down in the 40s or whatever. And so, it's an advantage to play at home, and it's an advantage to feel like you're fielding a good team every year, so no one picks you.
Yeah.
And then you get there, and these are huge matches for your ranking.
How about that? I had no idea it was like that draft.
Yeah,
Is that how you
it's
got
a lot
the
of fun.
teams?
They've built it up to be a great event, ITA Kickoff Weekend.
Yeah, and help me remember the teams that came here that played in that weekend.
Yes, we played William & Mary in the first round,
okay.
and then Miami beat Clemson, and then we beat Miami.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Great. All right, very good. All right, we're off and running on the Baylor Coaches Show. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Glad to have Michael Woodson, Baylor men's tennis coach, as our first guest tonight. We're live at Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue, and we'll be right back after this. Back with us on the Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's on the Circle in Waco. Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue. Let's give a round of applause and thanks to Nick back there. Nick with Rudy's, thank you very much for hosting us here again tonight. Always enjoy coming to Rudy's and appreciate the hospitality here. Welcome to, again, Michael Woodson, men's tennis coach, is our guest. And, Coach, you pull up and there's a bus outside. You had to think there's a whole bus load of folks coming to the show tonight.
Probably for the Acro and Tumbling session.
UNF, right, is what I'm saying. It is Irving High School, is that right? Irving High School is here. For an audio, they're here for us, yes, but for an audio-visual quiz bowl also. So good luck to Irving High School. Well done. Hope that's not an NCAA violation. All right, continuing with Coach Woodson this evening, and mentioned the 2 matches coming up this weekend. Tomorrow, Tulsa 2 o'clock, also a team that's receiving votes. And then Virginia at 2 o'clock on Saturday, a team that's number 7 in the nation. Another challenging weekend for you.
Yeah, it's not getting any easier, but that's what we like. It's actually worked out the schedule to where we've been able to build up and gain some confidence and get different guys a lot of reps. And I think now we're ready for the test, and it's just getting tougher every match.
You are not shy about scheduling, tough opponents. Especially in the non-conference.
No, for sure. And, for us, I think it's a big deal to test ourselves. I think it's a big recruiting tool. We certainly want to play the best, day in and day out. And thankfully our sport rewards, great wins and doesn't penalize, tough losses. So if we go out and we play each other a lot, maybe we split with a team, it benefits both teams. It's just hard to learn unless you're exposed a little bit. So we want to put ourselves up there against the best teams, and hopefully we can learn, regardless.
That's great. You also have a penchant, it seems like, for playing double headers, playing 2 matches in the same day. What do you gain from that?
Yeah, it gives a lot of guys different opportunities to play. Last year we had 14 players, which is a lot when you can play as few as 6 in a match. And then this year we've got 12, and we've got great depth on the team, which is a huge asset for us, but it's also a bit of a burden as a coach to make sure that guys are getting enough playing time, and it's really hard to develop without seeing live action. And so for us, it's how many matches can we play? We'll play anybody that's willing to play us. Yeah. Last year we ended up playing 39 matches, which is the most I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
so.
That was a big number. That was huge. But you're doing well in the scheduling of the doubleheaders. You've had 44 straight doubleheader sweeps. So whatever you're doing, it's going well for you.
It's definitely a balance, and we're trying to make sure that we challenge ourselves, but at the same time get other guys involved, and so we've had success. Sunday was a great example of it. Didn't start out well. We lost the doubles point to Idaho State. It was a great learning opportunity for our guys. We really challenged them. We had to make some changes with our lineup and really push them that we need to compete, every day, not just when Texas comes and the crowd is packed and going crazy. And so it was a really good challenge for us. And I feel like those types of environments allow us to make sure that we compete anytime, anywhere against anybody.
Doubleheader's about it, right? You'd never play 3 in a day, would you?
It used to be unlimited, that you could play as many in a day as you want. And
wow.
there was a coach that played 6 matches in one day to try to get above the 500 record, and then they outlawed it. So it was actually just 3 years ago. So.
Is that right?
Yeah.
6 in a day.
Yeah. Man.
So 2 is the most you can play now.
Correct.
Okay.
I've done 3, but that more than 3 is a little bit too much.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So you had those 2 over the weekend. Then Texas was rescheduled to Monday night. Great win there. We talked about 6-1. Tell us about the crowd, and the atmosphere was really good also.
It was honestly incredible. I mean, we saw the people filing in before the match, and we had a feeling, it's Texas, we're going to get a good crowd, but was not expecting it on a Monday night to be that strong. The people were kind of stacked behind the chairs, about 4 or 5 rows,
wow.
and the first point was won on 3 doubles, and the place went nuts. Like we had scored a goal in soccer, and we're all looking around like, what just happened,
Yeah.
But they made the difference, honestly. I mean, the Texas players weren't ready for it. I mean, we got up a break immediately on all 3 courts and doubles, and they just sustained. What was really special was that the match was clinched, and we played out the other matches after that, and so many of the fans stayed and cheered on Finn
wow.
and Matthias and Sven all the way to the end, which was really cool. And I know it means a lot to the guys,
yeah.
but tennis is an exciting sport, and so getting those people in the door and behind it was really special. And I know we'll be able to get them back after that.
That's cool. So was that just a coach's decision? You guys agree to play it out?
Yes. The biggest reason why we do it is for individual rankings.
Okay.
So
okay.
A lot of our guys, if we played clinch, wouldn't finish their matches, and those ranked wins wouldn't happen for both players, and it has to do with the individual national championship at the end.
That's great. That makes a lot of sense. So great win there over Texas. We'll see them later in the year in a conference match. You've had also, that wasn't a sweep, but you've had 23 sweeps during your coaching career. I mean, that's not easy. I mean, we look at the score, maybe 6 love, but that's not easy to do.
That's just credit to the players.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
for doing a great job, honestly. we've impressed upon them making sure that they're competing. It was a video we showed the guys today of Kara Lawson talking to her team and how there's a difference between hard work and competitiveness. And so that's a big thing for our guys. We want them to compete all the way to the end, no matter what. Doesn't matter what's happening on the other courts. Stay focused on your match. And these guys want to go pro. If they're going to play professionally, they're going to finish every match. It's going to be them. They need to take ownership in their games and go out and finish the job.
Good. It's February, February 10th as we do this. Is your lineup set? Are you still tinkering with it, or do you tinker all season long?
I have no idea right now.
Really?
I hope my players aren't watching. But honestly, it's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
We have more depth than I've experienced. We have so many guys that can compete on a national championship caliber team. And that gives us great confidence. That's a big thing we talk about, being able to look to your left and look to your right and knowing we have the most complete team out there. It actually takes pressure off of you in your individual match, knowing that, hey, these guys have a good chance to win as well. But right now we've got a lot of pieces, and they're all playing well and have a great attitude. And I think the most impressive part to me is that they all just want to see the team have success. We're trying to get them all involved as much as possible, and I know it will get more difficult as time goes on, and I'm sure we'll settle into a good rhythm. But as of today, if I had to make a lineup for the national championship match, I'd probably need the nearest coin.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a good problem to have.
It is a good problem.
I mean, it's not clear cut, and you've got lots of guys that could be in your lineup. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's really good. A doubles team. Would you say this is your number one doubles teams, Finn Law and Finn Bass?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Can we start a campaign? We need T-shirts that say Finn and Finn. I mean, how good is that to have those guys playing doubles together?
It's nice to have them on the same team because when their names get confused, at least they're in the same spot.
That's right.
And it is kind of a mouthful, but and it is confusing. I mean, they get confused for each other all the time, but they've grown into a heck of a team and have been a lot of fun to work with.
What are the characteristics of those guys? I mean, for a doubles team to be really successful, how does that work?
If I were to describe our doubles teams to you at each spot, they all play completely different styles, and that's great. We like that. I think the number one thing is that they have to get along. I mean, they have to have good chemistry between the two of them. And, then it's about piecing game styles together. I mean, Sven has been maybe the best doubles player in the country for the last few years, and he's had incredible success. He's on his way to breaking. He just got his 100th doubles win of his career, and he's probably going to break Connie Fronson's record later this year if he continues on this path. And then Finn, Sven is actually a little bit more quiet, kind of controls his side and does his thing on the court, brings an extremely high level, and he needs somebody that he plays with to be very fiery and very competitive and energetic, and Finn brings that. When the lights shine the brightest, Finn plays his best, and he steps up to the occasion. They complement each other really well. Not to mention they both play very traditional double style. Big serves, move forward, great volleys around the net, cover for each other. So, very different from our other two teams, but very successful.
So when you decide who to pair together in doubles teams, it's their game and it's their style, but it's somewhat their personalities also.
Absolutely. Somebody has to drive the ship. Somebody has to have good energy. Somebody has to kind of be able to lead, in their own way. Pick the other one up when they're down, and maybe stay up if the other person's down. And it's so much more complicated than just, this person likes this side, this person likes that side.
Right.
Okay, you guys go out and play.
Right.
The personality thing's huge.
How about that? That's really cool. All right, we need to take a break. We'll be back with more in just a moment. We're glad you're with us on the Baylor Coaches Show tonight. We've got some questions from the audience. Our First Place Foods Ask the Coach questions when we come back. So stay tuned. We've got Michael Woodson with us, Baylor men's tennis coach of the number 3 ranked team in the nation. We'll be back with more live from Rudy's right after this. Back with us live from Rudy's on the Circle in Waco. Our Baylor Coaches Show tonight. Coach Michael Woodson with us, Baylor men's tennis coach, our first guest. Felicia Mulkey, acrobatics and tumbling coaches, waiting in the wings. We'll have her bottom of the hour join us for the show. Time now for our Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics health tip for the week. Staying home is one of the best ways to stay well and reduce the spread of COVID-19. Avoid contact with others. Limit unnecessary trips unless you're coming to the Baylor Coaches Show, and have groceries delivered. Find more tips at bswhealth.com/COVID-19. Appreciate that. And back with Coach Woodson, and we got some questions from the audience here. This is our First Place Foods Ask the Coach questions, and it's brought to you by First Place Foods. That's a darn good pickle. First one is from Roy Evans. Roy is right here. Roy and Ann are right in front and center. He says, how would you compare the strength of the Big 12 to other conferences?
I mean, I'm biased, but I would say it's the best conference for sure. I think, for us to have 3 teams that started the year top 5, and I think we'll probably end the year in the top 8 or 9 overall, once we've all played each other more nationally, is incredible. And then you have Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech, who are top 25 teams and could be up in the top 15 by the end of the year, a couple of them. There's just nowhere to hide when you play in the Big 12. Everybody is really good, and that's why we like to play each other even more often. I mean, I would like to play everybody home and away, honestly, if we could.
Yeah.
It's a smaller conference, so I think it gets missed a little bit. The Big 12 only has 6 teams, where the SEC has 15 and the ACC has 16. So it seems like maybe their conferences are a little bit stronger, but we don't have any weak points at all.
Yeah. Would it help to seriously consider playing everybody home and home? Kind of like basketball. I mean, basketball in conference is that way.
I would like to. I think one of the drawbacks is there's a 500 rule in NCAA sports, and so everybody wants to make sure that they're above 500 in order to make the NCAA tournament. And a team that's, say, 5th or 6th in our conference is worried about going 1-9 or 2-8. I feel like it wouldn't happen. I think that everybody's so competitive, and it's so tough to play on the road in the Big 12 that it would be more of a race. I think that's more fun for me as a competitor, but I'm hoping over time that we'll be able to work towards it. We certainly have the dates.
Yeah, very good. All right, Roy, good question. Thank you very much. Going to send you home with some First Place Foods pickles. So you've never done that before. I know. All right, next question is from Alex, the gold guy. Where's Alex? Where is Alex? Right back there. All right, there he is. Alex's question is, what can fans do to distract other players without distracting ours?
First of all, thank you for being there on Monday night. You guys were awesome. Really appreciate it. That's a good question. I think, honestly, being at home and all the noise is overwhelming, just not being the home team. Constantly cheering for our guys and making sure that you're making noise when good things happen to the Baylor team is very overwhelming, because when guys lose points, and you lose a lot of them in a tennis match, your senses are heightened, and you start to look around and you start to worry, and it feels like the walls are closing in. And that's a nice part about our facility and having a good crowd, is that it really does feel like there's nowhere to go. You just want to get out of there as quickly as possible. And I think you saw that with some of the guys where we played on Monday night. And our guys, they understand how to. It's a big focus of ours is eliminate distractions, stay focused, go to your towel, keep your eyes on your strings, and then they play to the crowd a little bit, but that's not really what they're focused on. So I think, there's probably some things that we could talk about that are, skirting what is probably good sportsmanship. But, I think what happened on Monday night was a perfect example of a real home court advantage. And that's what makes it fun, in a tennis match, is there's excitement all over all the time. It never really stops. there's no timeouts because if one court's on a changeover, another one is playing, and it's probably a big no-ad point where that decides the game. And the fans can make, you get 5 or 6 or 7 really rowdy fans behind a court. They make a difference. They can swing that match. And as a fan, you want to go and have an experience and make a difference, and it can be hard to do that in other sports.
That's great. So for folks watching or listening, or those of you here, if your view of tennis is Wimbledon, the polite clap, college tennis is nothing like that. I mean, it's almost the 180-degree opposite of that.
No, it's definitely not like that at all. And I think some people that come to a tennis match feel like, oh, I'm doing it as a favor to the tennis players, and it's going to be kind of boring and slow, and I'm going to lose focus and interest after a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But it's really fast. The match was decided in about 2 hours. And there's just action, and the guys love it, and they're so energetic that I'm jumping out off the ground, in excitement. Probably, I think after the first game, I left my feet. So, it's really entertaining. It's so much action. They have so much passion for the sport, and it is similar to like a World Cup or a Davis Cup in tennis, where you're pulling for your team, and there isn't that etiquette that I would say happens in more traditional tennis.
That's good. Etiquette's a good word. It's a different etiquette,
yes.
But there is a line that you don't want to cross either.
For sure.
All right, final thought. There's an ATP event going on in Dallas, and we've got some good representation up there.
We do. The really great work by SMU and their staff and the people are in Dallas to bring an ATP Tour level event for the first time in 30 years.
Wow.
One of our former players, Jensen Brooksby, who is actually the ATP Newcomer of the Year in the world, last year finished at 56 ATP, is playing up there, and he won today over Andreas Seppi, who's a longtime pro. He's the number 4 seed. He's into the quarterfinals, and we're just really excited at all the success he's having, and to have him back close to his second home is nice.
That is great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll continue to watch that just up the road in Dallas. All right, you've got Tulsa tomorrow, Friday at 2, Virginia Saturday at 2. Good luck this weekend. Indoors, Hawkins indoors for both of those.
Indoors for both of them. Shorty's
Free
pizza for both of them.
Yeah.
And we'll do T-shirts to our first 200 fans on Saturday against Virginia.
Nice. All right, keep in mind my idea here, the Spin and Fin T-shirts.
We'll look into it.
Just keep it in mind. All right, congratulations on your success so far. Off to a 9-0 start. Coach of the number 3 team in the nation, Coach Michael Woodson with us, Baylor men's tennis. Appreciate you being here. Thanks very much. Great job. All right, Michael. Again, in action this weekend, next week at the ITA National Indoors up in Seattle. Take a break. We'll switch out. Felicia Mulkey will join us when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Baylor Coaches Show live from Rudy's right after this. And continuing now live from Rudy's on our Baylor Coaches Show this evening. We appreciate everyone that is here, everyone that is listening, everyone that is watching. And join me in welcoming Baylor's Acrobatics and Tumbling head coach Felicia Mulkey, our second guest tonight. Welcome to you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. Always fun when you're here. I'm sorry I didn't bring the bobblehead to show.
That's okay.
Is there going to be a second bobblehead of you?
Not in charge of that, but I mean, we could always suggest one.
Yeah, I would suggest
I don't know that it was much of an incentive. They gave them away, and I'm like, why would anybody come get this? But it is, I mean, it's cute.
Shoot, are you kidding? That's a huge collector's item.
I don't know about that.
That's good. I've got you and Bruiser side by side.
That's perfect.
Bobblehead.
Yeah. Perfect match.
Very good. Well, you started the spring with a win over UMHB this past Saturday. How'd things go?
It went well. I was pleased with them. It was kind of a frantic week with the snowstorm and everything coming into the meet, and they came in and executed really well. I mean, you'll hear me say it 1,000 times. We don't want to peak on the first day, and we didn't. But they did really, really well.
From your perspective, there's still room to
improve. We've got a lot of work to do.
Is that the message to them? I mean, how do you gauge that? Hey, y'all did great. You really won. You did well. But here's what we need to work on.
They would laugh if they were here. But they did well, and I was proud of how they came through the week and the snowstorm, and if we could practice and all that. And then our first practice after the meet was Monday, and I was like, you guys are not that good yet. So the scores were great, but we have so much stuff to do. So, yeah. But, I mean, we're honest with each other, and they know.
That's good.
We're just kind of thinking right now, foot on the gas and try to get better each day, and just keep rolling until it is the day that we should peak. So.
Let's mention this. Your opponent that match on Saturday was UMHB, coached by one of your former student athletes and assistants.
That is right.
Yeah.
Courtney Pate is who she will always be to me, but it's Courtney Oates. Yeah,
right.
They look fantastic. You know,
really?
She is, I think, what is the program, 3 years old
Sounds
now?
Right.
She's about 3 years in, and they look, she's doing great. She's doing awesome. Elise Manning is down there as her assistant coach, which is another former Baylor Bear. So, yeah, it's always good to see a Bear across the map.
That's fun. And so how many do you have now? How many former associates of yours, either your student athletes or assistants that have their own programs?
I'm not sure. There's a ton.
Yeah?
It just it's because I'm grandma. That's why.
fun.
Yeah. It just means I'm old. That doesn't mean it just means I've been around a long time.
I don't think it means that at all. I think you have a great coaching tree, so that is cool. Tell me, so I wasn't here Saturday. I was gone doing basketball. I'm sorry I had to miss. But I heard real quickly about some components that we have never seen before in competition. Tell us about that.
We just wanted to do some new things this year, and we have some athletes from an acrobatic gymnastics background, which is different than, we have artistic gymnastics, we have competitive cheer. And so there are these hand balance moves that we were able to introduce to the sport. And it's a one-arm handstand on another human, so it's kind of cool. Come on. I mean, I'm going to let you off the hook for missing Saturday just this one time, just because I like Coach Drew.
Well, believe me, where I was Saturday, I would rather be here the way it went. No. Sorry to miss.
No, I'm messing with you. But I can't wait for you guys to be at the next home meet against Oregon. We worked on some different stuff today, and it's just so exciting to see. You've been around since the sport started, and you've watched it evolve, and our skills have evolved, and you've seen us go from standing on our feet to standing on our hands, and it kind of evolves. And now we're standing on one hand. So you just have to come and see it to believe it. But it is really exciting.
So is that something you dreamed up? Is that something, like you said, comes from the gymnastics background?
Well, I think, I wish I could say it was me that dreamt it up. But it was, we have a freshman on our team, Jordan Grenler. And we've had acrobatic gymnasts on our team before. This is not the acrobatic gymnastics influence is where you'll see the back bend pyramid, the bridge pyramid, when they're standing on the person in the back bend and all that. That's an influence from acrobatic gymnastics.
Okay.
We've just never really competed with an acrobatic gymnastics top at this level. She's a very high level competitor, and she's fantastic. She's super humble and is always helping everyone else on the team with handstands. Imagine being more comfortable on your hands than on your feet.
No, I can't imagine.
Literally is that. So, but it's pretty cool. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Is she, I'm sorry, I don't know this. Is she a freshman?
She is a freshman.
Jordan?
She's from San Antonio.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Is that someone, so what was that process like? Did you see her, know about her? What was that recruiting process like?
We had visited her gym because we've had other acrobatic gymnasts come through. Bases like Bailey Humphrey, who is the base that is under Jordan. She's an acrobatic gymnast. Riley Chimwala, who was our freshman of the year last year. acrobatic gymnast. So it's not the first time we've had, an athlete from that area. Just the first time at this level and as a top. So we met her when we were down at her gym a couple of years ago, and then stayed in touch. And then and she wanted to be a Baylor Bear, so we said okay. So I'm glad that we did.
I mean, with those talents, who wouldn't want to come to Baylor?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With the 6-time defending NCATA national champions. That's great. Jordan was recognized as the specialist of the week. That's not Big 12, that'd be NCATA,
It's for the
right?
NCATA,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
And Emily Tobin recognized as the athlete of the week. So you swept those honors.
We did. Emily Tobin was the most outstanding athlete in the country last year, and she's off to a really good start this year too.
Wow.
She's also a top and is also doing more hand-to-hand connections, so she's getting more comfortable on her hands than her feet, too. So it's pretty interesting. We can't forget the bases under them, Riley Chamala and Bailey Humphrey, who are holding them as if they're standing on the ground. So, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I know. I can't wait for you to see it.
I know. Well, folks listening, watching, you need to come see it. Next home match will be on February 27th against Oregon. Always fun when Oregon comes to town. So before that, next week you go out to Marshall, Texas, right?
Yes, we'll be at East Texas Baptist next Wednesday.
Right. Mm-hmm. Very good. How does that? Most of your competitions are Saturdays. How does this one be a midweek?
It's just different little challenge. I like it. You can just throw it in there and just roll with whatever's happening. But and it's a little bit of a drive out there. We're really thankful to be driving to schools. Remember when Baylor didn't get to drive to schools?
Right.
So it's going to be fun, and it just is how it happened with facilities, because we kind of overlap with basketball right now. That it happened like that with East Texas. We're able to get out there and get back in a day, so we'll make it work.
And that is something that we've talked about really for years. As the sport expands, more schools add acrobatics and tumbling, more in the state of Texas, closer to you. You're able to do this, like drive to a competition on a Wednesday.
Right. Yeah, it's really nice.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with more in just a moment, talking acrobatics and tumbling with Coach Felicia Mulkey from Baylor A&T on the Baylor Coaches Show, and we'll be right back after this. And back with us live from Rudy's on the Circle in Waco, our Baylor Coaches Show. Thanks again to Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue. So Coach Woodson was here first. I know you were here. Coach Woodson finishes. Look at him. Goes back there, has dinner with his family at Rudy's. What a great family scene back there. That is really cool. So we'll make dinner available for you.
Oh, well, I appreciate
and Jeff
that.
when we finish here. How about that?
That's why Jeff came. He came for the dinner. It's not for me.
No.
He came
no.
yeah.
We're glad you were with us. how about the state? This is always you're the perfect person to ask, the only person to ask, really. What's the state of your sport? Adding schools. Where are we now? How much closer are we to NCAA status?
Well, we are at 39.
Okay.
As of 2 weeks ago, we added Texas Lutheran University down near San Antonio.
Oh, yeah.
So another school in Texas
Seguin,
to drive
right?
to. Yeah. So that, and there just may, I can't say for sure yet, but there just may be another Baylor Bear coaching down there too.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
that'll be super exciting. But yeah, so we're at 39. We are an NCAA sport right now,
Right.
but it's an emerging sport. So the emerging sport list qualifies you as an NCAA sport, but you have 10 years to get to 40 schools, and then you could be classified as a championship sport, which is what basketball and gymnastics and all of the other NCAA championships are. Well, we're at 39, so we need to be at 40, and I think we're going to be there by the end of this academic year. As a matter of fact, I know inside information that I can't share with you, John, but we're going to announce number 40 here in the next month or so.
In the next month.
Yeah, really excited.
All right, well, that set off a huge celebration. You get to 40.
I'm going to do a flip. Wherever I am, you can just find me, and I'll be doing
Right.
one flip or
Right.
maybe 5. It has been a long time. I mean, you've been around. There were 6 of us all over the country, 6 schools all over the country 12 years ago, and we've grown. I mean, it's just amazing to see how much it's grown.
Right.
It's surreal sometimes. I don't know everyone now. Do you know
Wow.
what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really,
exactly.
you don't know. You know who they are, but you don't know them personally. I mean, we used to just be this small little group. So you don't get to do that a lot. You don't really get to start a sport often. So
How about
it's
that?
been very cool.
It's kind of like our athletic department staff meetings. I used to know everybody sitting out there, and now I have to go introduce myself
That
to some people.
is
So.
true.
But
Yeah.
it's growing, and that's good.
Yeah.
Another new school is West Virginia State, right?
Is that 39? That was 39. 38 was Texas Lutheran. Crap.
Right,
I can't
right.
even keep it all together. But yeah, West Virginia State just added Division II, the Mountain East Conference,
Okay.
and which is exciting. The Mountain East and Conference Carolinas are 2 Division II conferences that sponsor it as a conference sport.
Yes.
So let's get a Big 12.
There you go. We need
You
a
know,
Big 12.
I mean, let's talk to some folks about it.
Exactly.
But down the road, it's going to happen.
So when you get to 40, what is that? How will that change things with the NCAA?
Well, when you get to 40, then you have to compete a year with 40 schools competing, at
Okay.
least 40 schools competing
Okay.
with at least, they have to be sponsored, like sports sponsorship. So 18 people on the roster, they have to compete at least 6 times. So, so we're looking at probably 18 to 24 months out
Okay.
when we have the 40 schools. Once we get there, then they'll go through their recruiting year, et cetera.
Okay.
So probably 2 years out, we'll hit that 40 number.
Okay,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Wow, that's great. So it continues to, those are the schools that have officially added, and you're at 39 right now. What though you're on the inside, and you know schools that are talking about it, considering it. I know that's your other hat that you wear.
I do. I'm a loudmouth, so I get to be the expansion director, and I say that all the time. I'm really just truthful. But I have the opportunity to go out and talk to schools and meet with athletic directors and administrations, tell them about the sport, and try to get them sell it and try to get them to start it in their university. So it's cool. I get to meet some great people and some great athletic directors and administrations across the country, because the schools that are starting it now are truly change agents. Like, they are on the cutting edge, and you don't really think that, because if you're new to the sport, you think it's always been around, but in reality, I mean, we're building it. So I do have a little insight on the back end on who's gonna be adding and when, and we have tons in the pipeline. We have one committed that we'll be adding, like I said, in the next month or so.
Okay.
And that one we're going to be really excited about, John. Yes, I can't wait.
Okay,
When
nice hint.
the next time that we're here,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about it. But I won't say anything else. But that's going to be a big one. It's going to be super exciting as number 40. It's only fitting.
Very nice, very good. And so what I get from you is that it is growing, and there are schools in the pipeline considering it.
Oh,
so
sure.
Just continues to move onward and upward.
Right. It's kind of like the tip of the iceberg. The one that's adding, that's just one, and there's so many. And there's a lot of interest in Division I now. We've been primarily Division II and III, and we've had our Division I schools that are out there. But the interest in Division I has grown exponentially over the past 6 months. And I think that has to do with our NCAA, coming out of COVID, and then the NCAA status now. So I think you're going to see our Division I contingent grow, which I'm really excited about.
That is great. Absolutely. All right, we got a question from the audience. This is our First Place Foods Ask the Coach question. First Place Foods, that's a darn good pickle, and it's from Roy Evans, front and center right here. He and Ann. We sort of talked about this, but go into more detail. Roy says you've heard that you are working on more difficult stunts. What is the ceiling? So like this thing we're seeing, the one-hand handstand, what's next? What is left out there?
Sky's the limit. Well, it's really cool to watch our sport evolve. The way it's set up is you can be creative in it, and you can play to the strengths that you have on your team. Because we pull from so many different backgrounds, that's why you can do the hand-to-foot connections or the hand-to-hand connections. So you really are able to, we were able to enter the skills that we are competing this year, enter them into our scoring system, so that now they're legal to be competed. And so as you create new skills, and I didn't create these skills have been in acrobatic gymnastics for years, but for the NCATA and for our sport at the collegiate level, it wasn't there before. So we were able to take these skills, enter them into our scoring system, so that other teams can train now and compete them as well. So what's the ceiling? I mean, the rules are on pyramids you can only stack 3 people high. So there's a lot more we can do with 3 people, right?
Yeah.
So we can't stack 4 people high yet. So there's that ceiling. In flipping and twisting, you can flip once and you can twist 1.5 times. So whatever you can create and fit in there with the acro stunt skills that we do, or the tumbling skills that we do, we really have the creativity to be able to do that yearly and reevaluate as an organization. And where we are now is not where we were 5 years ago with these skills, so it's really exciting to see where we'll be in another 5 years. And it really comes down to the influence of the sports that we're bringing in: artistic gymnastics, competitive cheer, acrobatic gymnastics, power tumbling.
Wow. Great question. Very good.
Thank you.
So it'd be fun to watch as it continues to move forward. We taped a podcast today, a Sikkim podcast, with 2 of your student athletes, Faith Core and Bree Harris. They were delightful. They were great to visit with. One of the questions we asked was, what's your favorite part of a meet? Not necessarily the discipline, but what's your favorite part of it? And I think Faith said it's the team event just because it's so high energy, which is what I would have said.
Right.
But Bree had an interesting answer. She said it is the walkout music. When you hit the walkout music, that's her favorite part of the meet. That's fun. Do they get to choose that?
They do. So if they're in an event, they give a song. It's kind of a secret. You've let our cat out of the bag now. So no, I'm just joking. No, I'm messing with you. No, but our each heat gets to choose which song they want to go out to. So if you hear the other team, after the other team finishes what they're doing, you'll notice that the song changes, and that is the song for the next group that's walking out. So they get to choose it.
Yeah.
And I don't ever. I mean, I think I notice the music at the meets. I've got other things on my mind,
Sure.
but I do notice them getting really excited. So that doesn't surprise me with Bree.
Very good.
Yeah, I think that's
that was her
hilarious.
answer, which I thought was really interesting. They did well. Watch for that. Tap into it. Our Sikkim podcast produced by Baylor Athletics. It'll be out tonight or tomorrow, so watch for that with those 2. And the team event, my answer to that question would have been the team event, because it is a 3-ring circus going on out there. It's the final event, so much energy. I just think that is really, it's a great capper of a competition, isn't it?
Yeah, it's controlled chaos,
Yeah.
and sometimes not so controlled. But no, it's a lot of fun. Everything that you've seen in the meet previously, all synchronized and set to music, and it really is controlled chaos, but it doesn't look like that sometimes when they're tumbling across the mat at each other. It is fun. I do like that part as well.
Very fun. You have a new assistant this year. Leah Nolan is back with you.
Yes. Aaliyah Stark, she just got married. I think
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I think she was just married the last time I was here. So she is a newlywed, and she's doing great. She's from Gannon University, was a coach there for 4 years, and then was a student athlete at Alderson Broaddus University in West Virginia.
Very good. Good to have her as part of the Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling family. Let's take a break. When we come back, look at your upcoming schedule and tell us a little bit more about your team. Coach Felicia Mulkey is our guest. We're talking acrobatics and tumbling on the Baylor Coaches Show, and we'll be back live from Rudy's right after this. Back with us and continuing with Coach Felicia Mulkey, Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. Here live from Rudy's, we have another question from our audience. Happens to be from our outstanding engineer. Folks, give Bob Baker a hand here. Bob thinks he's off camera, but we're going to get Bob on camera. But Bob has a very good question. It is simply, what is, you mentioned power tumbling.
Yeah. So power tumbling, if you have ever heard of trampoline and tumbling as a discipline for USA Gymnastics, it's competed nationally and internationally. Power tumbling is the tumbling part of trampoline and tumbling, and it's on this, I don't know the exact length of the rod floor, but if you've ever seen it, Hope Bravo is competing internationally.
Wow.
In that sport, and one of our incoming athletes that just signed with us is an international competitor as well. But if you've ever seen the ones where they flip, it's like whip, 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 whip all the way down the floor with a big skill at the end, that's power tumbling.
Okay.
And it's really popular in all over the world, but in the United States. And then trampoline is one that people don't really think about, but that one's terrifying. So if you ever get the opportunity to watch trampoline, it is terrifying.
I can't imagine.
But they know there's so much air awareness. But there's a little thing called the mini where they have to jump on one part of the trampoline, they do some flips, and then they land on a portion of trampoline like this big before they flip off. And I'm like, no, that's. But then we do one arm handstand.
Right,
so I mean,
right.
But
That's
for
great.
me, that freaks me out.
That's good. I think Bob wanted to know, he's done some power tumbling in the past.
well-
Want to know how it's changed through the years,
Gotcha.
you know. So
Okay.
that's good. Answer your question, Bob? Yes,
Bob,
very good.
Come on out to practice, Bob. We'll get some power tumbling.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, she's not kidding about that. All right, home matches. Let's talk about that. You've had the one against UMHB. You've got Oregon coming in on February 27th. There's one more home match after that.
I think it's April the 2nd
Okay.
with Hawaii Pacific
Okay.
is coming in town. So,
Good.
yeah, only 3 home meets this year. Hopefully, with all these schools adding, we'll have some more.
That's good, but we're not hosting the Nationals this year.
I know.
I'm so disappointed.
I know you are.
Where is it?
It is at the University of Oregon.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I heard they need an announcer up there,
No,
John. So,
no.
you're not
We
going to
need
come
it
up.
here. We just need it here. It just needs to kind of be permanently here.
Well, I will tell the NCATA that you say that.
I have friends at the NCAA.
I know you do. I am super grateful to Baylor for hosting, and when we needed it, and
Right.
then, you know, even when we didn't need it, I know we stepped up and hosted it.
That's
but,
right.
we're just at the best school. Sorry. I
and-
think I say it every time, but I actually mean it every time too.
Very good. All right, we're going to let you go. Appreciate you being here.
Sure.
Good luck the remainder of the season. We'll check with you down the road. We'll watch for that 40th school coming
Yes.
up within the month. How
Call-
about that?
Yes, come find me.
All right, I will
Okay.
do it. Coach Felicia Mulkey, she is the head coach of Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. We'll take a break and be back. We'll wrap things up on the Baylor Coaches Show right after this. Back with us to wrap things up on tonight's Baylor Coaches Show. We appreciate Coach Michael Woodson being with us and Coach Felicia Mulkey being with us tonight. Here's the upcoming schedule in Baylor Athletics. Busy weekend. Here we go with the spring sports starting, like softball opening their season at a tournament in Natchitoches, Louisiana this weekend. Women's tennis at Denver, at Colorado. We talked about men's tennis versus Tulsa and Virginia at home this weekend. Doubleheader in the Farrell Center on Saturday. The Baylor men versus Texas at 11 a.m. The Baylor women versus West Virginia at 5. Hey, we appreciate you being with us. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's.
This has been an exclusive presentation from Learfield.